Starting with the first objective, did we have any questions on that first objective that we wanted to go over?
Yeah, can you just show us how to do it again?
Which one?
Which one? Y equals 4 over 5x plus 1.
This is a choose all.
Oh. Okay.
It might also help if you take out your review so you actually see what questions I'm talking about. Does anyone need an extra one? Number 4 and the first one. So for number 4, here we know we're using direct variation, so the direct variation equation stays the same. They just give us different variables to use. So the number of gallons G of fuel used on a trip varies directly with the number of miles M. Remember, with these, you can solve them one of two ways, either using the proportion method or using, where you find K, put it in the equation. I'll do both. So if you're doing the proportion method, you need to remember how to find K. How do we find K with direct variation? That's inverse. Y over X. So if we're using the proportion method, our Y here would be like our G, and our X here would be like our M. So if we're going to use the proportion method, this would be 9 over 315 equals, we're looking for G, or our Y in this case, over 200. Cross multiply, and we can figure out what G is. I don't know what that is. Okay. 1800. When you put 1800 over 315 in the calculator, you get a bunch of decimals. Convert it to a fraction or leave it as a fraction. Put it in fraction form, and then it'll simplify it for you. So we can say 40 over 7. Or you can put decimals, but round it to 2 decimal places at the very end. 1.7. I said 2, but I only have 1 decimal written. So you can do it that way. The other way you could do this is if you set it up to find K and then put it in your equation. I'm going to do this in 5 spot, but it's not going to be 4, 5. If we were looking for our k value, we still need this y over x, so that k would equal 9 over 315. We could simplify that to be, I think it was 1 over 35. We could put that in our equation. What is our direct variation equation?
Or y equals km.
Yeah, in this case, it would be g equals km, but yeah, same thing. And then we can put in all of our numbers into that equation. So for the second part of this question, we're looking for g when m is 200. And you would get that same answer, that 40 over 7 or that 5.7 gallons. Questions on that one or any others in objective 1? Questions on objective 2? Dave. 8. Yeah, that one was a little tougher. Okay. Again, with this, there are two methods you could use. Here, you could use the equation method because k equals y times x. So I could take these two, multiply them together, set it equal to these two, and then find my x. Or I could do it the other method. So this would be 1/3 times 13. This is technically x times y, but it's the same thing. Equals 1.9 times x. When you multiply the 1/3 and the 13, you're going to get repeating decimals. Leave it as a fraction. So in your calculator, I don't have this open. When you would divide by 1.9, I would leave this part as a fraction, but add another part to it. So I could do alpha by equals 13 over 3, and then outside of that, divide it by 1.9. 1.9. I'm going to get some decimals, and you can round that 2.28, 2.3. Either of those would be fine. If you wanted to do it the other way, you just have to be careful with your fractions. Because to find your equation, you would still do your y times x, which would still give you 13 over 3. But then when you put that into your other equation, your inverse equation is y equals k over x. So you have y equals 13 over 3 over x. What I would do to kind of simplify that is to make this all one fraction. Take this, multiply it by its reciprocal, and do the same thing here. So you have y equals 13 over 3x, and then put your numbers in. It would be just a little bit easier to solve that way. than trying to deal with the x in another denominator. And then for multiply both sides by 3x and divide everything by whatever that is. So that makes it a little bit easier if you do that. But either way is fine. Do we have any questions on that one or any other questions in objective 2? Questions in objective 3? 19. For objective 3, number 19, the cross C, so they're giving you some variables, but not all of them. But anytime they give you width and length, that's just going to be W and L. Remember that varies jointly is the same thing as directly, so you're multiplying. So the cross C of material product varies jointly with W and L. So that would be C equals K times W times L would be your equation. Then you're going to put your numbers in to find K, and then use K to find the remaining. So the deck costs $1,400 when the width is 12 and the length is 20. We put all of those numbers in, multiply and divide. That's more than that. Find your K value. Once you find that, you can put all of the other numbers back into your equation. So this is what this would look like without the other numbers. And then the second part is asking what will the deck, that's 107 feet wide, so that's W, 4 feet long, that's L, should say cost, is what we're looking for. Hi, this is Ms. Bossman. Yes. No, it's okay. Can I just email you back? Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Okay. Hold up that, sorry. We're looking for the cost, so this C equals 6 times 107 times 4. You would put that all in, multiply that all out. And here it says to the nearest dollar, but none of this is a decimal, so it's just going to be a dollar amount. So 2,568 would be your answer. So for these problems, remember varies jointly and varies directly. Both are multiplying, varies inversely is dividing. Are there questions on this one or in this section? Number 17. 17. I'll set it up and put the numbers in, but for sake of time, I won't solve that one. So for 17, how you would set this up. It varies inversely as B. So if we were to just start setting this up, this would be C equals K over B. But it's also directly as A, so it's still multiplying. So the multiplying still needs to go up here. And then you would find your value of K after you put in everything. So C equals 2. We don't know K. We know A is 1/2. And we know B is 56. You can do a couple different things. Multiply the 56 out. Simplify the 1/2 and the 56 first. Either of those. Find K and then find your other. Any other last minute questions? Put anything you have related to this away. Go put your cell phones in a calculator pocket or a calculator if you need one.